That was the guitar version of Wind Cries Mary. A little rough, but kind of points it out. Now, some things I want to point out real quick while I have guitar in hand before I pick the mandolin back up. In the very beginning, in this riff, you're hearing two different chord inversions. The first inversion has the third on the bottom. In this case, the E flat would have the G on the bottom, and it works its way up to the A. Very common Hendrix sound. So the next inversion is part of this standard kind of movable A shape, but you're going with the fifth on the bottom. So it's B flat to the C right here. When I do that for mandolin, I don't use the same inversions because the chords don't lay out quite the same way, and I could get closer to it if I wanted. But all I'm concerned about is splitting up the chords. So when I play the opening figure, I'm playing E from that E flat E to F, two different types of double stops, two inversions of an F double stop. But I'm not really concerned that it's exactly the same as the guitar with the third on the bottom and then the fifth on the bottom. My main thing is splitting up the chord, and it still maintains the feel of it. Another thing I want to point out for you guitar players, when you hear those standard F and C shapes that you hear in Hendrix, he's doing from the C. Those are some things I'm going to point out on the mandolin, that you don't have 6 strings, you don't have it really, this is pretty much tuned in fourths, you don't have the luxury of the kind of extra space to do those type of things. But on the mandolin, what I'm doing is taking certain double stops and trying to achieve the same effect. So it's kind of breaking up the chord. You kind of have to jump around a little bit, but you can get close to that. The same applies when you go up to this G. It's just a standard G chord. You're doing the 3 middle parts of the G, B, D, doing the middle part of the chord, and then you're hitting that E. Then you go up to B flat. So let's look at how that works over on the mandolin. Again, on the mandolin, I'm thinking more about double stops and arpeggios, because I have to think double stops because I can't hold those full chords. I can't do a guitar chord on here because when I strum it, there's, say, an open F. This is your A note. On the guitar, when I'm doing this right here, when I'm doing that F chord, so you can see it, see that A, the 2nd fret 3rd string, is closed, and I'm hammering on. I don't have that luxury on here. It's the same with the C chord, where I can hammer on to the 2nd fret of the D string, which is an E note, and get that dum-dum, that kind of country sound. So I have to go to double stops. So let's go through this piece by piece. It's very simple. So this right here, the C shape is a movable shape, that type of shape, where you've got the ring finger on the 5th fret of the G string, the index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. That is a C chord. That is a movable chord. If you move it up, your root is on the bottom. That's a C note. If you move it up to the 10th fret, keep that shape, move it up to the 10th fret, that is an F chord. So this beginning figure of the is the F chord broken up. So there were 2 double stops that we're taking out of that chord. The first shape has the ring finger on the 10th fret of the G string and the index finger on the 7th fret of the D string. It's an F note on the bottom, A note on the top. So you're taking it 3 frets down, where you're starting out on the 8th fret, and then you're going and move that shape up to the 9th fret, and then up to the 10th. So E flat, E, F. your next double stop is that same C chord broken up. Before we did the bottom 2 notes, this time we're going to do the top 2 notes. So for the F chord, it would be the 7th fret of the D string, 3rd string. You would have your index on that, and your middle finger would be on the 8th fret of the A string, which is a F note. So you move it 2 frets down, E flat, E, F. You could hold the entire chord the whole time and do it, but I tend to break it up and try to isolate the double stops more so I don't have ringing from another string. So the way it goes is you do the bottom 2 notes of the chord, start out on the E flat, the first go around, work up to the F. And now you're going to do the top 2 notes of the chord and go from E flat to F. So that's that. All it is, it just comes all out of that shape, except I'm just isolating that double stop, then that double stop, that double stop, that double stop. So the first double stop, the second double stop. Then the riff. This is going to become a very important shape in here. This is an F double stop. It is the C note of the A string, so it's 3rd fret A string, and 7th fret D string. 1 I play with my index, the 3rd fret I play with my index, 7th fret I play with my ring finger. This is an important area for doing F stuff and C stuff. It kind of falls in with pentatonic scales and all that, but for right now we'll just kind of look at it as a double stop and playing around the double stop. So the little riff that leads you into the 5 chord, into the C, the beginning of the verse, you'd play the A note, 7th fret, D string with your ring finger. So that's the first part. So the 7th fret first, then you're going to play with your middle finger the D note, the 5th fret of the A string, and pull off to the 3rd fret of the A. So that would be a C note. And then you would land back on the A note. So bum 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 da, da, bum. And then we start into the verse. So we're back down to the C shape. I'm breaking it up. I'm doing an arpeggio for part of it, and then I'm doing an ornament. Hendrix did a lot of ornaments on his in his playing. An example would be if we think back to something like Purple Haze, where so you can doing those little ornaments.